Right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you can all hear me fine today. I hope you are all okay in the chat. Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome once again to the Generation X Retro Gaming Club with me. Yeah, moves the mic out of the way. Yes.
Yeah.
There is a bit in the script about that. Hold your horses.
Oh, is there? Sorry.
I'm sure there was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to the Generation X Retro Gaming Club with me, Clive Illenden, and
me, Rokk, not Illenden.
Yeah, Rokk, not Illenden. No, we haven't got married. Don't worry about that. Yeah, we're back. And after last Tuesday, of course, we were off from broadcasting for obvious reasons. We're back once again, yeah, with the Rebel MC. This is the #1 podcast for Generation Xers who still like to game, where we talk all things gaming, past and present, and we look at the current news in the gaming world because we still like to keep up with the young'uns.
Yes, but we also like to take a little wander down Retro Avenue and reminisce about games from our gaming youth.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the next hour of games from the perspective of a couple of Generation X's. So, chat, let us know what you've been playing in the chat and everything. Rokk, what have you been playing this week, please, sir?
Well, I've gone a little bit cosmopolitan this week, Clive. I've branched out from the usual Stadia, and because I bought this new gaming rig, which was partly my attempt to try and fix my ever-failing internet. So I thought, right, I've got one. I may as well buy some PC games.
Yeah, get some proper games.
Well, I've been quite impressed. So I bought Man-Eater, all about a shark.
Yeah.
And I bought Crisis 3 for old time's sake. Plus a little bit of Destiny. Of course, today was the launch of the new season.
Yes.
So that was exciting. I've played the first couple of missions of that one today.
But,
and a little bit of,
the new one.
Yep, launched at 6 p.m. UK. Yes. No. You see, don't get confused with their big DLC, which comes out in September. So today was the start of a new season.
Oh yeah, the Arrivals of whatever was the Arrival something.
I think it's called The Arrival. I'm not sure if there's any more seasons before the new DLC. This may well be the last one, and probably therefore the last that we get.
That we get as Stadia Pros. Okay, that's what I was confused about. But yeah, thank you for explaining that.
That's quite all right. But yes, they've got the new one for sale, pre-order on Destiny, which is a first. Sorry, on Stadia, which is a first. Destiny and Stadia. So that you can now buy for either £40 or £60, I believe, depending on which version you want. So, good.
Okay, I've taken a little look at Little Nightmares. I really liked it. I've still got to, and it's quite spooky. I mean, the characters in it, they're creepy. Some weird sort of almost even darker than sort of Tim Burton in their designs.
Yeah.
But I love a platformer. I love those platformers, and I like the way that it doesn't give you any clues. If you compare it to Beyond the Page, which says do this, do that, which is fine, but this at first you just like no help.
Yeah.
But in a way I quite like that because as an experienced platformer, like I like to think I am, it's like, okay, I'll try some buttons. I'll push some doors, see what happens. And then you get that real satisfaction of going, big brain, I worked it out all by myself, But it's a delicate balance between being frustrating and you sort of, thinking, wow, I worked that out all by myself on my own. I did my shoelaces up kind of thing and feeling real satisfied. And that's a good puzzle platformer should do. So,
and it's very, very pretty as well. It's a nicely crafted game.
It's a beautifully overall designed game. So I did a first look on that, and then I haven't done a first look on some other games because I haven't looked at them because I like to record first looks. And I don't like to play the games. I like a first look to be a genuine first look for me, so that hopefully people, when I stream them on the Lord Kensal channel, that people are experiencing them at the same time I'm experiencing them for the first time, or seeing me experience them for the first time. So,
Yeah.
so of course that means that sometimes there's a sort of a lag between me actually playing the game. So I've still got, and because they dumped so many pro games, I've still got, a handful to do.
I
So
know.
yeah,
There's no games on Stadia, Clive. Come
no, I
on.
know. Yeah, yeah.
No games. I just noticed you've got a Destiny 2 poster on your wall behind you. It's very nice.
Yes.
Or Destiny 1, in fact. It's an original, that, isn't it?
No, it's a Destiny 2.
Oh, it is 2.
Yeah, it's an original Destiny 2 one, so that's probably why it has us with real. They got real actors in the pictures. I'm not sure how they corresponded. So it was an early Destiny 2 teaser poster, like a press thing. I don't know what it was. And then I stuck it in a frame. And then I realised when I was doing these streams, the back of the wall was a bit blank, and I thought, I know, I've got this spare picture. And it's gaming related. It's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah, I put it up a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, as I say, and then obviously loads of PUBG. I've been playing, been live streaming that, and I seem to recall I jumped into a certain private match on Rockstars at night.
You did.
I did right at the end. With amongst, it was a sort of a private match, mano a mano, as it were, against
big hitters,
various members of the community. And I can't quite remember who got the chicken dinner on that one.
Oh, I've forgotten as well.
I forgot that. Yes, yum yum yum. Some more mashed potato with that. I was concentrating like hell, though. You see me I stream. Like I'm chatting away and getting shot in the head. But on that one, because I wasn't in the party chat with you guys, I was just
totally focused.
Focused, 100%. I thought, I don't want to come last. I was so focused.
Oh, it was really good. No, it's each of those is a real lesson because the problem is that because I'm streaming it and I'm the worst of them all at playing the game, the people watching get bored stiff with because I'm doing nothing. So
yeah.
So I've come up with a new concept, which is to actually screen share everybody's screens and then direct them in.
Yeah,
so
like a TV director going. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
camera 5, camera 2,
exactly. Camera 7, close up on 3, and then I don't actually play, I direct. But after tonight's experience, before we came online, with my internet going down again, I think I might have to go back to the drawing board on that one.
Yeah, yeah. Great Stadium Mini says, great headshot on me. Clive Bravo show. Yes. Well, don't mention it. Particularly one, I think it was Rev, who saw me go into one of the domes, but still came in.
Yes, he did. And then he regretted it.
And I had a massive machine gun just pointing at the door, anticipating that he's going to come in. And he was just shredded. And then he thought, why did I go in there? I knew he was in there. And I was thinking, yep, I'll take that kill.
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was great fun, actually.
Yeah,
there
was
was
some
techie issues with audio and stuff. But
highly recommend everybody. If you've not seen, I'm sure most of the people in the chat have watched Rockstars at night, but definitely you've got nothing better to do on a Friday night. It's a great hangout with a bunch of guys playing. Not just playing PUBG, playing different games, having a laugh, and that's what it's all about. It's a great, great show. Quick look at the chat here. Desidini, hello. Stadium Mania, Gamerman, Rokk, hello Rokk, Dave Widnall, Stadium Mania, Holtz, lovely to see you here again, Holtz. Holtz has been, he's been in my Lord Kensal stream quite a lot as well, watching Yoshida and I. So welcome, Holtz, to Generation.
It's great fun watching you and Sheeda. I always have a chuckle with Run Rabbit Run and everything else you get up to.
Exactly. We get all sorts. We get into philosophy,
really good fun,
art, everything. It's not just gaming.
And she's really confident now. It's great to see that she's a lot.
Yeah, she's really, still got the hang of Panic at the shooting bit, but she's always. Yeah, if we could just combine the way that we play the game, we would probably get more chicken dinners, because she's very good at staying out of trouble and getting down to the last 2 or 3, except when it comes to the crunch, she can't clinch it. Yeah. She's not very good at the shooting bit, but she's brilliant at the hiding bit. Whereas I get involved in too much into trouble. I get myself into trouble. Suddenly I'll take that guy on, and then 2 of his mates come around the corner, and I think, oh, bum. I wish I hadn't tried and take this guy on, and then I'm trying to take out a whole squad on my own, and it ain't gonna work.
No.
It ain't gonna work. Anyway, chat, don't let us know. It's not just let us know that you what games you've been playing. Holt says the Destiny poster is cool. The best thing I've received for gaming was Killzone postcards. Killzone, that was that PlayStation game, wasn't it?
Oh, I love that game.
I love that one. Almost, I thought it was almost, I don't know, better than Halo.
Yeah.
I think Halo was grander on its scale.
That was its problem.
Yeah, but Killzone had a real style to it.
Great game.
Yeah, if they could bring that back.
Yep. They need to bring it back and remaster it because it just fell short with the tech.
Yeah.
PS4, it was at the launch of the PS4. Yeah. And I mean, that was the Killzone that came with the PS4.
Yeah, they wanted to use it like a Halo to really push the tech. Yeah,
it pushed it, but it just wasn't ready for it. They hadn't learned how to properly optimize the system by then. But you're right. If they remastered it and brought it back, it's a cracking game. Great story.
Good shout out, Holtz.
Like Crisis.
Yeah,
very similar to Crisis.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good. Oh yeah, so. Let us know and say what you've been playing in the chat. If you've got any questions you want to talk, any things you want to talk us about, we'll try to get it. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. We've got a new subscriber in Holtz. Thank you for subscribing today. I didn't see my little alert pop up. It's been popping up when I'm not streaming. I hear it go bling 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 bling. And I think, oh, somebody subscribed and I'm not even streaming.
Yeah, I saw it on your Lord Kensal.
Yeah.
I was working on there.
The same thing here. It's been going off all evening. Well, twice. Anyway, come on.
I've told you a million times.
Well, twice, yeah. Now, the more eagle-eyed of you would have spotted something, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to just move my mic out the way and stand up for this. Yeah?
Figure of a man.
Yeah, man. Check it out. The official merch for the channel, yeah, is here. Combat green, military green,
nice.
navy blue,
nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing like official merch. We have actually official merch.
Yes.
Nothing like getting a bit ahead of yourself, you know. But we like to think big, you know. There's only been a handful of you in chat, and welcome. They come in a variety of colours if you're interested. Small, medium, large, and extra large.
I have the small.
Yeah, right. And if you're interested, then let us know. Just contact us. They are £14.99. Special offer for you guys. £14.99 if you want your own.
What's he got hold of there?
Generation X Gaming Club. I was just moving the mic out of the way to demonstrate, to model.
Very
attractive.
Why I'm
rubbing my breasts there, but you know, never mind. Yeah. I think that's how they do it. Okay. Oh,
they do something
checking
like
the camera.
that.
I can see now in the feed now. Anyway, enough of that. And I hope you like the shirts. I hope they're cool. Gamer Man's playing Super Hot. Very good. I haven't played it yet. It's one of my most anticipated games I want to play, but as I say, I want to do a first look on it, so I haven't got round to it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the news. Let's get on with the news, ladies and gentlemen. News straight in. Now, one of the biggest news stories from last week is the fact there's no news, gaming-wise, really. The beginning of June, of course, as we all know, is a really significant date in the gaming calendar. If you don't know, it's normally E3 or the run-up to E3. Depending how it falls in the calendar in June. So there's often big presentations prior to E3 and then all through E3. Now, obviously, there's no E3 this year, but all the publishers, consoles developers, they were all planning. They still have all their marketing plans, and they're all planning to do their big announcements. And we know, last year you had Keanu Reeves turning up at the Xbox presentation to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. 2077. There are a number of events planned last week, of course, but Sony, Xbox, and EA, and I think even Nintendo, and others as well, developers and publishers, all postponed those events out of respect to Black Lives Matter and what was going on in the US. And that's a big decision to make because it's the most important marketing sort of date that was in the calendar for them, for gamers and publishers in the whole year. In terms of that's the focus. They know the industry and the media is all focused on, okay, what's basically coming for the big shopping season in Thanksgiving to Christmas, onwards, and next year. So it is a big thing. Now, they haven't cancelled them, they've just merely moved them, but it's still, I think, a pretty big statement that they were prepared to say, you know what, actually, I know this has been in the calendar, but there's bigger things in the world, so we'll just move on. But having said that, June is packed with big announcements, and there's going to be lots to get excited about in the next few weeks. But anyway, one of the things to get excited about here is finally we could get to see what the PS5 actually looks like. Let me just look here. Right, I've got it up here. So here it is. Is it next week or this week? I can't remember. So here we are.
It's the 11th, I think.
Yes, the 11th. So we are on the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
So Thursday. So following the postponement of hotly anticipated PlayStation 5 last week, Sony's rescheduled the date. And if you're doing anything on Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, this Thursday.
Definitely one to watch.
Here we are. I'm just going to hear. They are June the 11th. So Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. British Summer Time. So UK, it's a nighttime thing for us. The future of gaming. Oh, there's a trailer. I didn't realise that. Let me just click it.
I think it's just the the controller disappears into the background.
Yeah, just hypes it up a bit.
Yeah. Actually, I am quite looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I think they've been very canny. They've been sitting back and letting the Xbox hype train run out of steam, and they've kicked it into the long grass a few times, of course. Some, arguably for the right reasons and good reasons. But this is going to be an interesting one.
We're seeing a real chess match take place.
Yes.
At the moment, aren't we? Go on, carry on.
No, I was going to say arguably the last of the big consoles, if cloud gaming has its way. So it'll be very interesting to see how these do over the next few years. But yeah, I mean, I am, as you rightly said, Clive, historically I've been a PlayStation boy, despite the embarrassing name, PlayStation, which I've always felt was a little belittling of me. But then again, Xbox also sounds pretty unimaginative. So,
PlayStation has a sort of, when you think about, I mean, it's so part of our culture now that we don't really think about it. But when you think about its name, it's one of those Japanese English word combinations that you get. Yeah. So like Super Dry, I know
Game Boy.
Yeah, like Super Dry. I know Super Dry is not Japanese, but they purposely gave it a sort of an English name that it doesn't quite make sense.
Sounds Japanese.
Yeah, so it sounds like that sort of combination of taking, like two English words and putting them together that don't quite feel right. And PlayStation is one of those, but it's so part of the culture we don't even think about it now. It's so
But it does stick in my throat every time I say it. I much prefer to say PS.
Yeah, PS4, PS5.
The postscript 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's coming up on the 11th. I think they should. I know that there's been leaks of games, the launch games. I've avoided the leaks.
Do you think they were actually going to show it on Thursday?
I think they have to.
They have to, because they've held it off for so long. Chat, what do we think?
Yeah. I think there's no way they can avoid it, frankly. If all they did was to show 6 games and a controller, I think there would be a small laughing stock. So yeah, I think they're going to need to at least give some specs. It has been kept a very good secret. I mean, there were some early concepts based around developer kit, but nobody has actually leaked the finished item, which is quite clever this day and age.
Yeah, that is very impressive, really. I mean, there's been sort of a lot of guesswork going on. Eddie's just pointing out I'm player 1 up in the screen there. Yeah.
Well, I'm Rokk.
Eddie's player 1. I'm Clive player 1. Yeah.
I've got my Valhalla name tonight. Rokk.
Rokk. Yeah,
Rokk.
yeah.
But yeah, so it's yeah, that'll be really fascinating. And I think personally, if I was to put money on it, I think the PlayStation will probably do better. And they certainly scored some home runs with the Unity 5 demo.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
did really kick box, in spite of the fact that everybody's building games on Unity 5 for the future. I mean,
Even on Xbox.
Yeah, of course they are.
But but PlayStation got all the attention.
But they got the attention.
Yeah.
They got to show that amazing showreel, which of course, even in its own shape and size, could never fit on a modern day console. Let alone develop a game with that consistently through every single level. But very impressive tech. And I think, yeah, so they've done well. I can't think we've got the IGN summer of gaming, or the game summer,
festival,
or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
I think it kicked off today, didn't it?
Yeah, it was all part. Well, I think all these announcements are sort of basically a collection of the presentations put together. I think part of that as well. Eddie Player One says here, I think they'll show it, but no price reveal yet.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout. They'll wait till the last minute for that.
It's interesting because Xbox moved their announcement, and I think they moved it after PlayStation. I think, and so I think when I said earlier about it, we're getting to the end game, as it were, in terms of seeing it like a chess game. Nobody wants to go first on the price. The classic was when Xbox. No, we talked about this a few weeks ago, didn't we? Dreamcast, was it the Dreamcast I was talking about?
Yeah.
And then they went first to the price, and they said you can get it from the shops now. It's in the shops. They rushed it out because they thought, well, let's get it out first before Sony. And then I showed that clip from the whenever it was, 2003, whenever, I forget now, but back in the day, press conference with Sony, and the head of for those that didn't see that the show that we did when I talked about it. Basically, at E3, at the Sony presentation, the CEO of Sony basically just went up to the mic and said $299, and then walked away from the mic, and that was it. And it basically undercut the Dreamcast or whatever it was that I was talking about by like $100, and that was it. He literally just went up and he said $299. The crowd went wild, and he walked off stage, and that was effectively the death of Dreamcast and the Sega Mega Drive, all that kind of history that went on. So the pricing is so crucial, and I saw an interview with Phil Spencer because he's doing various interviews this week and with major outlets. We did one with the BBC, and he's done some other ones, and he's talking about the Xbox philosophy and the pricing, and he sort of said they're going to be flexible on the price. So I think the interpretation is, okay, if Sony go up $499,
we'll come to $350.
He'll go at $449.
Yeah.
So none of them want to necessarily reveal the price first. So that's going to be the key thing.
Do you know, I do wonder, though, a lot of it's down to market elasticity and the audience that would typically be buying a console. Are they going to worry about 30 quid? Are they going to jump to a completely different platform for the sake of $30 or $40? No. Of course they're not. And it would have to be $150 cheaper.
Yeah, it'd have to be significant. And you've got loyalty, brand loyalty, as it were. But, excuse me, Phil Spencer also went on to say, though, given the sort of the situation this year, the COVID and the economic situation, are people going to be rushing out to buy new generation consoles, at the end of this year? And their philosophy, which is different from Sony's, but the Xbox philosophy is very much that you buy the game, you buy the games for this generation, and when you're ready to go and get the Xbox Series X later, take your games with you, upgrade, because of the share play thing they have, the whatever they call it. I forgot what it's called now. But that's just a very interesting philosophy, because his thing is, as life goes on, they just want you to be able to play games within the Xbox ecosystem. Whether you have an Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, Xbox One Series X, they just want you to play the game. And so he was very much is like, buy it when you're ready, and you will automatically get an upgraded game. And that's a sort of an interesting philosophy. And he says it's not going to be for him, and he might be just hedging his bets here. He's saying it's not going to be about units, number of units sold is the incorrect way to judge whether something's successful. He talks about engagement, how many people are playing games in the ecosystem, and that's how he's looking at it. It's just a very interesting approach.
Interestingly, Clive, in the Destiny reveal earlier, they announced that if you buy Destiny on PS4, you'll get a free upgrade to the PS5 version. So you're already starting to see that percolating across.
Was that on the PlayStation they were talking about? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah, that it mean that may be driven by
undoubtedly
by developers deciding actually the Xbox approach might be a good value added.
Yeah.
Here I've just found the thing I was talking about here. It talks about the problems of delivering, and the hardware and, the delivery chain and all that kind of stuff in COVID, and how that's not, they're okay. They've sort of managed it. But he says here, we want to make sure we're providing the right value to customers. Price is going to be important, but our strategy is centered around the player, not the device. If this is not the year when a family wants to make a decision to buy a new Xbox, that's okay. Our strategy does not evolve around how many Xboxes I sell this year. We're focused on delivering services through Xbox Game Pass, which allows people to build their library on a monthly fee. Backward compatibility means that the console that they have will play thousands and thousands of games. Smart delivery, that's what they call it. Smart delivery means when they move to the next generation, the games will move with them. And the big thing here, in the past, there's been an obsession about how many units are sold in the opening weeks and months of a new console's life. Given the pandemic, this was a question, do you think that won't be the best way to measure the success? And then he says, we're talking about engagement metrics, so about how many people are playing, how often, what they're playing, do they have friends on the network, how many different games do people play? They are the metrics that he's talking about, that going forward is how they will judge their success. And now you can either decide, well, that's him hedging his bets, or actually is a genuine business strategy. I don't know,
Yeah, I think the interesting thing will be when ultimately they make the final push to cloud, and then they allow you to still play your pre-owned games. Because, of course, Stadia doesn't have that advantage because there was no console before Stadia. So that's the one trick up the old sleeve, if you like, that your Xboxes and your PlayStations have, and PCs, which we're seeing with GeForce and Steam, in the sense that if you can prove that you've got a license for this game, you can play the cloud version. But with Stadia, you have to buy it from scratch, and therefore they have to find other USPs.
Yeah, no, I think so. Absolutely. So Holtz is saying, do you think Sony will announce new exclusive IP? Yeah, I think there will be in it. They may do it in two stages. You may have the hardware presentation with a bit of games, or a separate games presentation. I don't know.
Well, one of the titles that I think we may hear, and not a lot of people are talking about this, but it was announced, or it was leaked a while ago, that Guerrilla Games, the guys behind Horizon Zero Dawn, have also been working on a new IP for Sony.
Okay, interesting.
And I suspect that that's one that they've been keeping up their sleeves for release with the PS5. And if it's anything as good as the stuff they normally do, it's going to be amazing. They're just one of the Dutch-based company, one of the best agencies in the world. And of course, their engine is what is also powering Death Stranding. So that's just how good they are.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's this is an exciting time of the year for gamers, and we're getting lots of news. We had the Destiny news we talked about earlier coming already, and everybody was, even within the community that we hang out with, which is obviously Stadia, it was a pleasant distraction It was like everyone was talking about something else the
Yeah,
last
yeah,
few days,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then the Destiny 2 live stream thing was earlier today, and then every, all that old stuff was temporarily forgotten about
That's it.
until I brought it
All
up
the
again. Sorry
magpies are
about that,
away.
but yeah, it was like new shiny thing.
Yeah.
Right, you've got some other news here. So, talk about
Yeah.
your the 2 months additional pro. I know it's not a Stadia. This is not a Stadia podcast,
Show.
but you did do a video earlier today.
I did. I did. It's done very well. Yeah, so I'd heard I think Project Storm, to be fair to him, had raised this yesterday. But I
Stormy.
Storm, he's a cracking guy and please go and watch his stuff.
Mm.
But it hadn't got the traction, and then I was just in my other account actually, which is Stadia Rocks, which is one I don't use. So don't follow it, people, because I go in there and see a pile of please follow
Yeah,
me's.
please
I never
be
go
my
in there.
friend.
Yeah,
What a rude man.
Rock, follow Rock. Friend Rock. But yeah, so I thought I'd try it, and indeed it did. What it basically seems to allow is that if you weren't a founder or a Premier Edition subscriber, so you've come in over the last 3 months,
Yeah.
4 months, and subscribed and allowed it to lapse,
Hmm.
so you just haven't renewed it or you cancelled it. Even if you took out one of those 3 months trials that concludes this month, uh, allowing it to conclude, you go in and they will allow you to renew it for a further 2 months. Now, the interesting point of this is that only last week or the week before, they said that the 2 months would drop down to one
Yeah.
month. But clearly that may still be the case if you've never taken up a pro subscription or at least a
Yeah.
Stadia.
So new for new people, it's only a month.
Mm.
So potentially that's
My
either an extra marketing thing that they're going, please
Yes.
stay with an incentive, or it hasn't caught up with the going down to 1 month
Yeah,
thing.
I suspect that they've allowed 3 months as a sort of a maximum amount that they will allow a trial period.
Mm.
And in reality, what they're doing here is they're taking the 1 month that you get if you sign up now, and then if you haven't bitten, they're giving you another 2 months at the end of that. So in essence, they're still giving you 3 months, which is ongoing, but they've broken it down to so that it kind of feels like they're really generous and they're just kind of winding you back in. Otherwise, they could give you 3 months and you leave after 3 months. They've got nothing else to pull you back with.
Yeah.
So you leave after 1 month and they go, no, 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 don't go. Have another have another snort. You know,
Have another hit, man.
have another
Yeah, yeah.
hit.
Have it on
Uh,
us, yeah, because you'll
have
be
it
back
on
for
us. Have
more.
another hit on us.
Yeah.
And I think that's essentially what's happening. So it's effectively a 3 month trial broken into two parts, and 1 month for anybody new. And incidentally, because they clearly haven't got the tech that's clever enough to know whether you're new or not, if you go now and resubscribe, you'll get 2 months for free.
Okay.
And there's a video on YouTube.
Yeah,
well.
check out Rock's video from earlier today if you want to find out all about that 2 months
Yeah.
thing and how it all works. He explains it in his clear and elegant way, as we've come to expect. Now, the other
Yes.
thing you've discovered as well, which is news, but also ties nicely into the retro side of things,
Yes.
is this play 10,000 retro Amiga games.
Yes.
Let me just whip it onto the news page for you. There we are on the news. Right. Okay. So yeah, 10,000 retro Amiga
Well,
games.
this was like Christmas when I found this earlier, and
Yeah.
I stumbled across it. And literally, if you're familiar with archive.org, which I believe is owned by Google, but I may be wrong, they have literally archived 10,000 Commodore Amiga games,
God, we're going to be
and
busy.
anybody can play them for free, and they run in the browser with a built-in emulator. And I actually played a few, and there's some big titles on there. I mean, you'd be pleased to know they've got Lemmings.
Got Maze
There's a
Man, which is
okay,
Pac-Man,
yeah,
basically.
yes, Batman. They've got all the Ocean stuff,
Batman.
Signosis stuff.
Oh, there's Deluxe
Anybody that's
Pac-Man. Yeah.
If you
Okay.
ever owned an Amiga, you will almost certainly find at least one of the games that you remember from your ownership childhood days. Because I did, and they all work with a keyboard. They probably work with a controller. I haven't tried, but the only one I couldn't get to work was the
Oh
first
my God!
Lemmings one I
I
played
hit
on.
I hit the emulator. Yeah, keep
try.
going, keep going. I'm just hoping
Yep.
that
So no, no,
the
no. So yeah, they fire up. They take a little while
yeah.
to fire up because it's an emulator. But once they're there, they play with the full audio. They're very responsive, exactly as you would imagine. And literally all the big games, all the big titles that I could remember. Batman from Ocean was a big title because they had a license for Batman. You know, it's like nothing like Batman, but it's all in there and it's playable glory. 10,000 Amiga games, and they're free, and you don't have to pay a license or anything. That's now that, my friends, is cloud gaming.
Yeah. 10,000 game library. Stage doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, no
Can you hear that?
I can't, but I can see it on YouTube.
I think the channel. Can you hear the music? The art. The
R-Type. Yeah, it's got all the full audio, the full controls are there, and it absolutely plays.
Yeah, you can expand it to big screen if you need. Should I do this? It's going to make my thing fall over.
No, you should be fine.
I
was playing in Microsoft Edge. It's perfectly fine, which of course anyway is Chromium. I can't recall whether I could get it to play full screen or if I didn't bother to try.
Yeah, I couldn't quite get it there.
No.
But that's really cool, as I say. So I've not even tried it until then.
No.
But there you go. R-Type,
yeah, it really
old
does
school
work.
gaming, mate. We're bringing you the old school gaming live here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. No, I thought that was a cracking discovery. And
no, that is a good shout out. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should definitely we'll share that in the share that link for everybody so they can check it out. That's proper Generation X retro gaming find there, sir.
Yep. Yeah, that's we could even do a little stream of some of those games.
Yeah, we could maybe find one game and do a good stream of it.
Proper old. We could do a Commodore Amiga 24-hour gameathon.
Oh my god, that's proper retro. Yeah, on this channel. On this channel, we're gonna do. I keep meaning to do the Doom 64.
Oh yes.
On this channel, live stream. Yes. We're going to do some live streams on this channel, purely retro games. But that might be an ideal one. We can just do a handful, as you say, like you know, a handful of retro Amiga games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's really cool. Now the other thing as well, the other news from last week, which again ties into retro gaming, of course, is Sega. There was a lot of hype around Sega last week. Various people were speculating, is Xbox going to buy Sega and launch the Xbox sort of Sega brand, which is ridiculous if you know anything about business. That ain't going to happen. But anyway, is it a cloud gaming service, which they kind of sort of announced in a slightly weird way, but it wasn't the big news. There's so much hype around this. Is Sega going to bring out a brand new console? No. None of that. I will hit the news page and Rokk, you can talk all about it.
So yeah, what they announced was this tiny thing, the Game Gear Micro. I think there's 5 of them. I can't see the screen, but they're all different colors, and they've all got an original kind of retro Sega game. And actually, I didn't realize this until today, but it's to celebrate 60 years of Sega. I'm assuming that at least 30 of those had nothing to do with gaming. So I'm not sure what they did.
Yeah, they might have done pinball machines or stuff like that. You know?
That's true. Yeah, they could have done pinball machines. That's very true. But yeah, so in essence, they've brought these little consoles out. They're not cheap, mind you.
No, they're about 40 quid. Yeah, 40
quid a pop.
Yeah.
Now, if you buy all 5 of them, they very kindly give you a sort of an over-the-head magnifying glass, so you shove them in, which you absolutely need. Because my eyesight's not great,
no.
And there's no way I'd be able to.
No way, no. That's like it's just bonkers, and the fact that magnifying glass is such a joke on top.
Yes,
it's like what?
It really is.
Why invent something? You then need to invent something else. So that people can use
to get best effect from it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame because let's be honest. If you look at the it's nice to think that it has a symbolism and it's a kind of collector's piece. But let's be completely honest here. We've just seen 10,000 Amiga games that you can play for nothing.
Yeah.
It's that is about I don't know, £6 worth of moving parts there. I think £40 is pushing the boat out a tad. But there you go. They've obviously assessed the market, and let's hope they do well with it.
And I don't want to disappoint everybody. Only in Japan.
Yes,
only available in Japan. Now,
which, of course, is a phrase that you can apply to many things.
Yes, only in Japan. What goes on in Japan stays in Japan. That's what my boss told me when we were out there.
Kiosks at train stations.
Yeah. So now I have plans to get one of these, just so we can demo it.
Right.
So, and I believe they're coming out in October. So watch this space. Obviously, I have sources.
Yes.
That can, connections that can access this when it launches in Japan. So that's the plan anyway. That I'm hoping to.
Which colour do you like, Clive? I like the grey and black one.
I like the yellow one. I like the yellow one.
Yellow?
Yeah, I think so.
Red's
quite nice.
Yep.
But I
blue
like
doesn't do it for me.
Right. Okay. So that was just bizarre. They did talk, in fairness, about some cloud gaming thing which sort of translates into what they call fog gaming. Which is a bit like cloud gaming. I think it's a translation thing, to be honest. But that's about using the Sega arcade. So the arcade centers in Japan are still massive business. So every town effectively has one, and then it's like using the sort of effectively the servers and the processing power of the arcade machines in those arcade centers when they're shut to sort of power some sort of cloud thing. And now it's unclear whether that means people can then play the arcade games over the cloud.
That's my understanding.
Or they just using the processing power as a glorified server and will stream different games, but just use somehow the processing power of those machines. And the idea is so that the arcades, when they're closed, can continue to make money either way. It's a bit complicated, not a lot of details on it. It's all in Japanese, only in Japan as well. But that was the other announcement. And those two things, launching some sort of new device and some cloudy thing, everybody got hyped up into thinking, there'd be some crazy big announcement. And sadly it wasn't.
No, very sadly.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's the news, the big sort of from the gaming news. Now we move on to the next section, which is called On This Day in Gaming, where we like to sort of look back through the history of gaming and see, was there anything major that happened today, some week. And, last week we've had some classics. Of course, the Pac-Man, as everybody knows. I don't think I showed this as well, because remember we were talking about Pac-Man last time.
Oh, wow.
And so I saw this on Instagram or Twitter, I forget where it was. And because I'd been this was after we'd been talking about Pac-Man and I am a sort of fan of Pac-Man, and I've got the Pac-Man artwork and the Pac-Man coasters. I'm not obsessive, but I did see this on Instagram or whatever, and I just thought, having just talked about it on the Generation X Gaming Club, and I thought, blimey, I'm getting one of them. So I ordered it. So and of course it's Clyde, which is orange, and my favourite is I'm a grown man. I'm talking about having a favourite.
Never grow up, mate, do we?
Anyway, Clyde, that's my my little.
They're really, really popular in the States, aren't they? Those little pop.
They're popular here. They're popular in my house.
Are they? Well, yeah. Maybe you're keeping the market going.
I've got about 8 Overwatch characters, or
wow.
I have. My son has some big ones as well. My daughter's got several, about 8 or 10 different ones, and then up here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Fortnite characters, and then a couple of other things started around.
What sort of price are they, Clive?
If you go to the in here, they're if you go to the about a tenner.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
almost sort of,
Oh, wow.
I'd say sort of pocket money. But if you go to the Entertainer, they often do deals, and they're like $6.99 or $8.99. They do everything. I've even seen royal family ones.
I know they're
They do
huge.
TV, they do films, they do books, they do anime, they do gaming.
You can get
Uh,
Destiny ones.
yeah, everything. Pac-Man. But I say they even do the
That's...
royal family, which I thought was really funny. It's just like, anyway, so what I was talking about on this day in gaming, ladies and gentlemen, on this day I couldn't find anything earth-shattering, not like the Pac-Man story. Sorry, taking a
Or
drink.
Tomb
My
Raider.
throat was going there. Yeah, or the Tomb Raider, anything like that. But what I did find, ladies and gentlemen, is this, and this was actually on this day. Okay, on this day, back in 80, I want to say 81. It will become apparent. Bear with me 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen. On this day, this game launched on the Dreamcast. Bust a Move. Anybody in chat remember Bust a Move? Let me know. I remember this not on the Dreamcast. I've got some footage somewhere. I'll just play here. I remember, I'm sure I played it on the PlayStation. Let's get rid of the silly advert. 1 second, bear with me. Here we go. I'll turn the sound up a bit. Anybody play Bust a Move?
I didn't.
Bust. It's so Japanese. Now loading. Let's get to the action. And it's you basically just have to sort of hit the balls, and then they sort of you drop off and you get point. There's so many. You see mobile phone games, very sort of similar, sort of almost like a Bejeweled thing or puzzle games. But yeah, this was Bust a Move.
Right, okay.
2000, I think it was. It came out in the Dreamcast. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I love this kind of game.
Yeah, released. So this was released. It says here on June the 1st. It was actually a little bit later in the UK anyway.
Bubble.
On the Dreamcast via Acclaim in this country way back, 20 years ago. 20 years ago.
Wow. Yeah,
I'm
Dave
sure
Wiggles
I played a. Let's have a look in the chat. Awesome overlays. Yeah. Oh, I haven't got my chat's not updating. Okay. So you just let me know who's.
Yeah, Dave Wiggles played it.
Yeah.
Ray's played Bubble Bobble, which is very similar.
Yes. I think maybe that's
played
what
Bubble Bobble.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this. Oh look, there's a hermit. But yeah, no, I love this. I've played very similar on the Mac, but was this the originator of this particular kind of genre? Then Clive, was this?
I don't know whether the originator of the genre per se, but it's it's from Taito, Japanese game. Yeah, I played Bust a Move, says Holtz. Yeah, Bust a Move is the other one I'm thinking of. Yeah, so anyway, so on this day, on this day,
2000.
yeah, way back into 20 years ago. It looks like an older game, if I'm honest, to it. But maybe I'm losing sort of perspective of things. Maybe that was a sort of from 2000 or whatever. But maybe it just looks older to me. But anyway, so that way back, that's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Can't be,
20 years ago.
And the fact that was Bust a Move 4, so it was obviously a big thing. Right, okay, ladies and gentlemen. So that was 20 years ago, Bust a Move 4 on the Dreamcast, specifically in the UK on this day, 20 years ago. Bubble Bobble, says Ray. Yeah, Bubble Bobble. Bubble Bobble, it's the Bubble Bobble Dragons. Okay. Jerome says puzzle Tetris with balls. Tetris with balls. That sounds like a different game. Yeah, this is good, right? Yeah, Tetris comes out and attacks you. This is Tetris with balls, mate. It doesn't let you just sort out. It comes and gets you. Yeah, coming at you.
It's not just Tetris, it's Tetris with
Tetris
balls.
Very good. There's another job for you there, like film trailer man. Film trailer man's in the house, everybody. Welcome to Film Trailer Man.
Quinn Martin production.
Right. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we have the next section, which we like to call 64K of gaming memories, or just for Rokk, because he likes me to do it, Generation X gaming. Did he do well? Did he do well? Yes, it's a Generation X gaming section. So in this is our little sort of Generation X gaming, where every week we both will draw a game from our gaming past, yes, and sort of present it to the class. Chat, you are class. Of course, your class. You are the class. You will judge which game you think is the better one, and decide who's going to win the Generation X gaming trophy. Oh, did he do well? He did do well. Yes. So that's getting worse, to be honest.
Can't wear ahead, mate.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We'll cut that. Cut that bit. Yeah. Editor, take that bit out. Yeah. Cut that bit out. Yeah. Anyway, as Adam, I think you're ahead in terms of wins to date.
Yes.
Why don't you go first? I will call up the wiki page for you first. Okay. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, do that.
While you do the introductions? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good. So, yeah, now my game today is Marathon by, ironically, because
I've not heard of this. Yeah.
Bungie. It was one of Bungie's first games. Obviously the developers behind Destiny. Now, I'm going to almost concede to you today, Clive, that you will win, because very few people played this game. It was a Mac-only game. And so I played it because when this came out, and back in 93, I think it was, 93, I had a little design
94.
agency, and we had Macs. Yeah. And so that was a game we played in business, in the little studio that we had. But absolutely, we all adored this game. And actually, Marathon Infinity, which came out 2 years after, was probably the best of the three, ironically. But it's the kind of, even if you play Destiny, occasionally there'll be a little Easter egg that nod back to Marathon back in the day, because you could certainly see the early roots of Halo and Destiny back then.
I'll play a little clip. I'll play a little clip for you. Yeah, you've lined up a clip here.
Please do. Depending on which of the versions you're playing, the very, very first one is essentially, it looks very close to Doom 64 as we know it today, or Doom as it was then. And interestingly enough, they both kind of came out around the same time. They were months apart. So almost certainly it would be, I think it'd be a remiss to say there was plagiarism, because they must have been in development at the same time.
There's a cartoony style to it that
very much.
You don't, with the black line, black outlines.
And that's the thing.
Didn't see in gaming then.
You do see it to a degree with Destiny. I have always maintained that the Destiny, the whole kind of all the characters, there's sort of a cartoony style to them, whereas Halo was a bit more photorealistic in some ways, probably dictated by Microsoft, whereas with Destiny they kind of went back to their roots, which is that kind of cartoony look.
But I'm thinking more in games of this era.
Yeah,
you didn't see it then. You never saw that kind of almost deliberate comic book style. Absolutely. There were people so concentrated on sort of getting the graphics to kind of look good, our 8-bit graphics, 16-bit graphics, whatever, and they said never going to look good. But they've actually said, no, we're actually going to have a very distinct art style that's slightly comic booky.
And I think that's been one of the hallmarks of Bungie, is that kind of maverick aspect to what they do. They sort of take the best of what's kicking around at the time, but they bring that little quirkiness to it that is undoubtedly a hallmark of the studio. So Infinity, which came a little bit later, that's not such a maze game. It's kind of got more of a story, and they built the graphics up a little bit. And also by that point, and bearing in mind that it was only 2 years later, it also had a fully fledged multiplayer level as well. So it was in many ways, I think for me it's got a place in my heart because it was a game that
Yeah.
goes back to my very, very early gaming days. Plus, there are just things in it that things like there's a line that was in throughout the game where they would say, "See a star side," and you'll still see that to this day if you look carefully at a lot of what Bungie put out on their materials. So they're obviously very proud of what they did with the game, and the sounds and everything were great. What I love about this is that I think I've got the date in front of me, Clive. You've got it there.
Ray says he got dizzy playing this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Back in the day, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all, mate.
I've got the wiki page up here, sorry, because it's from 1994 on the Mac.
So in 2000 and I want to say 3, but it may have been 2002, they gave away all 3 of the Marathon games as freeware. So I guess largely because it was probably an anniversary in a way that Sega's anniversary, but also because it's a nice way to kind of pay homage to the game. And then a couple of years later, they even made the source code available, open source, of Marathon Infinity. So, people were allowed to just go and download it and use it if they wanted to make their own games out of it, which I thought was nice.
Ray's saying here deathmatch. Was there a deathmatch in it?
Yeah, there was. In Infinity, there was a definite.
Oh my God, Ray! I can't even believe you played this game. I was meant to win this outright. What's he? He's come up. Adam's come up with some obscure game. I'm thinking no one's ever heard of that. He's off on one.
I know.
And you're going, yeah, I know this game. What are you talking about? Just on this though, like I noticed here, I completely forgot this. Right, it was available on the Apple Pippin.
Apple Pippin.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd forgotten the Apple Pippin as well.
It's got it on page here.
Yeah.
There's a multimedia technology console designed by Apple Computer.
It was
basically
their attempt at a console.
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't last at all.
A derivative of Apple Macintosh platform. Bandai produced the AppMark and AppWorld consoles between 96 and 97. It was sold for $599. Of course it was Apple back in those days. Of course you sold it at $600.
Yeah,
in
that's getting on 1996.
It was in Japan and North America only, by the looks of things.
That's probably why I don't remember seeing it.
42,000 units sold.
You'll probably find, Clive, that was at the time when Steve Jobs wasn't at the helm.
Yeah.
Because they tried all sorts of stuff, and it just wasn't working for them. And then when he came back, he very much concentrated on what we know today as Apple.
Yeah.
I even forget the name of the fella. There was a chap who I think he was the CEO of Pepsi.
Yeah, I think
they brought him in as a director, and then ultimately the shareholders booted Jobs out. They didn't have any trust in the fella. He went off and started Pixar, sold that, became the largest independent shareholder in Disney once he sold it to Disney, and the next Cube, which ultimately became the engine for the Apple Mac when he came back in. So he had the last laugh, and then of course
he did.
Not.
Yeah. Dave says, I'm over 40. This is the first game I didn't know, never had a Mac. Well, exactly. That's what I was hoping, Dave, with Adam coming up with this one. Nobody's going to know it because it was Mac only. Anyway, well, each to their own, Ray. That's all I'm saying. Each to their own, My game. Okay, so my choice this week is a game developed by Konami as an arcade machine game. So it was a classic arcade game. You go to the arcade to play in 1981. Although I've seen so many different versions of this, like any good sort of arcade game from back in the day. I've seen rip-offs of it down the years. I think even I remember vaguely similar things on the ZX Spectrum for this and type systems for this, and even more recent mobile phone games that's absolutely massive, which are clearly based on this, which I'll come to later. But my game of choice, ladies and gentlemen, is this. He says, hopefully we'll probably get an advert first, so bear with. Is this. There's no sound at the beginning, but there will be sound a little later. I will move it on, and then you might, anybody who shout out, somebody could say what this is, or we did say in the top. Yeah, so fail that just from the opening. There we go.
Dogger.
Dogger. Yeah, no, not Dogger. There we go. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Feast your eyes on this little beauty. Frogger. I love Frogger.
Oh, it's a
I
great
love the
game.
simplicity of it. I love the sort of addictive nature of it. This time, next time. I love the increasing difficulty of it. Things travel faster and faster. More and more objects joined. I just absolutely loved it. I remember it in the arcade, but I just remember so many derivatives of it since then. Dave's saying he's trying to guess what year it is. I think I've got the details here. I'll give you the history. Let me talk you through the history of it while it plays in the background. Okay. Furuga, which is the Japanese version. Beautifully fantastic Japanese
That was amazing, mate.
impression.
That was like there. Bruce Forsyth earlier.
Furuga, yeah, Furuga. Good. I hope Yoshida's not watching. I'm going to be in trouble.
I was going to say, no racism.
Yeah, not right. Just bad accent, bad pronunciation. You should hear my French. It's even worse, It's probably that sounded more French, ironically enough. So 1981, an arcade game developed by Konami, originally published by Sega. We talked about the Sega and the history of arcades and stuff. So there you go. So 1981, yeah. Jointly published by Sega and Gremlin Industries. Obviously, the object is basically to get the Froggers to their homes by one, crossing a busy road, and then navigating a river full of hazards. And as I say, it's had loads and loads of different clones of it have existed. I'll just turn that sound down. And even now, you see effectively rip-offs of it all the time. I've got some examples here. One such derivative, of course, was a hugely successful game on mobile phones, so on iPhones and on Android in the games store, and it's this. Quickly. And you can see how to. Let me go back and let me just so you can see the title of it. Yeah, so Crossley Road. Now, look, even going on the river bit. Tell me that is not Frogger. Oh, that's funny because I quite like actually the design style of this. They purposely made it really blocky. But this was really, really massive in all the game stores on mobile phone, on the iPhone, on iTunes, and on Android Play and all that kind of stuff. Massive, but it's so derivative. It's shocking that that Konami didn't have words with the developer about that. But having said that, we've not seen the end of Frogger. I can just find my. Here we go. Get rid of that. We've not seen the end of Frogger because the game is still going strong, ladies and gentlemen. It is still going strong. Check this out. Oh, quick, get on the news.
Why have I gone all tiny?
There we go. Look. Frogger updated. So they're still making Frogger. Can you believe that? This is how many parents helped me learn how to cross the street, lol. And also cross the river then on that basis. Did you often have to cross a river via logs, avoiding the crocodiles, Ray? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So there we go. Frogger.
What's this updated version on, Clive? This looks amazing.
Oh,
it's Apple Arcade.
Oh, we are Apple Arcade.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, you've sold that well, mate. I would give you the name of Flogger.
Flogger. Okay, guys. So there we go. You've got your choices really between what was yours? A marathon and
Hazelnut every bite.
Frogger. Yeah. Squirrel shit. No. Um, so put your votes in. So 1 for marathon, 2 for Frogger. Chat, take it away, my friends, while I find the script. I've lost. I closed down. So 1 for marathon, 2 for Frogger. Put it down in the chat. What about Frogger chat. VR? Says Holtz. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Actually, that would be.
I don't know. You'd have to. Oh no, yeah. I don't know. It'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it? You have to like jump up and down.
That'd be pretty cool, actually. I think it's a good shout. That is.
Yeah. Maybe if it came towards you, like if the scene came towards you.
Yeah.
While things were coming, so it scrolled towards you. There's a word for that where they scroll.
How about
and then you just have to jump and
How about a Pokemon version of Frogger where you literally have to go on a real road?
Augmented reality version of Frogger. Yeah.
And literally avoid real cars.
Yeah, 2, 2, 1. Gamer man, what are you doing?
I hate to tell you this, Clive, mate, but I'm seeing a lot of. Oh no, hang on, you've got 3-2 there. Yeah, no, you're doing right so far.
Dave. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you got Jerome's giving
Jerome's
you one.
got me one. I'm calling it.
Favour.
I'm calling it.
Yeah. No, that's good. I'm okay with that, mate. I assumed you'd win this week. Look at him. Not only did he kill Lee in PUBG.
Lee, Rev, Chase, I think. I can't remember.
But he's also won. He's also
3
got
kill
his
game. Yeah.
Well done. A worthy
statement. Thank you.
Very
now,
good.
we're going to do a quick piece here as well. So this is called What We Got. Bought. Yeah. No, what we bought. I've got to say it right. Oh, my God. What we bought and what we got. You explain what it's all about. I'll try and find the docs while you're talking.
I don't even know these. I suppose there is the modern equivalent of this, but back in the day, you go and buy your cassette from your local version of local Virgin. Actually, they'd sell them, or W.H. Smith's or Dixon's. Yeah, you could get your games anywhere, and you'd get this thing home, and it had the most amazing artwork on the cassette, and there's beautiful looking graphics, and then you shove the game in, and it would be 3 pixels and 6 colors.
Okay. So here is the box, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Thank you, Ray. Here is the box. I'm going to call up the box. Here we go. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There is a picture of the box. That looks so exciting.
Want to buy it?
It was called Crystal Raider. It was available on the Atari. I bet that looked absolutely amazing as a game.
C64.
Yeah, should we have a look? So that's what's on the box. It's sort of Indiana Jones there. He's swinging. He's coming at you through the camera, grabbing the crystal. That looks really exciting. I wonder what the game actually looked like. Should we have a quick look? Ladies and gentlemen, this was the game.
Bless it.
It looked nothing like, so you could sort of see the massive disappointment. The box is saying you're going to get an Indiana Jones experience, and the reality is this. Hey, that is the crystal game that you were going to get. Unbelievable.
It was very, very, very close.
Chase, how are you, my friend? Yeah. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, we'll do another one.
Mm-hmm. E.T.'s
one. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Well, we could do a whole show on E.T. But anyway, because there was a whole documentary made about E.T. and the dumping of like 1 million cartridges of it.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. It's mythical.
Really?
If anybody has a copy of this game, the original game, it is so rare because they basically deleted it all, crunched it all, put it into a massive tip. And talking of Indiana Jones, somebody went on an investigation like 20, 30 years later after this came out to try and work out where they were dumped
Right.
and then arranged to dig up the dump to try and find them.
No.
Yeah.
And did they?
Well, am I allowed to do a spoiler alert?
Oh, I'm not going to watch the documentary.
Yeah, they did. Unbelievably, 20 or 30 years later, this guy doing various detective works
Yeah.
worked out where the warehouse that stored all the stuff and then were told to dump all the cartridges. Found it. It was in a, I think, if I remember rightly from the documentary, it was in Mexico.
Wow.
And they dug it up. They got diggers in. They dug it up, and it was this. This is like a proper sort of archaeological thing. And they dug it up, and they found the remains of the cartridges.
Why did they
games.
dump them? Because they were so.
It was
because
so
they were just
awful.
pants.
They overordered, and it was so awful.
Right. Okay.
Basically, they knew E.T. was going to be a massive game.
Yeah.
And so they went to this game developer and said, "Could you do this game?" And he goes, "Yeah, fine." And then I think whether they brought E.T. forward or something that happened that meant that they go, "Okay, can you actually do it in?" Yeah, it will take me about 18 months. They go, "That's fine." They go, "Actually, could do it in 12." All right. And he said, "Yeah, I can do it in 12." And they said, "Actually, we need it in 8 or maybe 6." And he went, "Yeah, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it." And basically, he was like coffee 24 hours a day, like almost one man. There was a couple of people doing it. One in particular guy just programming 24 hours a day, drinking coffee, and they kept going, right, we need it early, we need it earlier, because we've got all the logistics to do all it. And yeah, and so of course you're going to end up with a pile of
It was just absolute pants.
gunk.
But the graphics, however, were stunning.
Yeah, so here's the box. You know, you've got Elliot, you've got E.T., you've got the phone there. I tell you, you know, spoiler alert, but this game is going to look amazing.
You know,
let's have a look at the picture.
You can tell by the cover. And what the
There's
hell
E.T.
is that?
That was it. Like if you were Steven Spielberg, you know, they sold him the pitch. Wow. Okay, we're going to make a game based on this film. It's going to be amazing. And he was really like, he was thinking, you know, Spielberg's up on tech and stuff. He's thinking, this is going to be really exciting. This is going to be really interesting, you know. Imagine if you were Spielberg and you said, you know, that game we promised you, yeah, here it is. He's going to be looking at this going, I mean, obviously this, like I said before, I made that joke about that other game, you know, obviously you're going to fill it in and finish it off, aren't you? And they're going, no, this is it. This is it. So, you know, no wonder they dumped it. I mean, while we're here, let's just for the shizzles, I will quickly do a live. This is not in the script. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
Dumping of ET game. Let's look it up. Atari video game. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's in the chat. Yeah. So the Atari video game burial was a mass burial of unsold video game cartridges in a New Mexico landfill site undertaken by American video game home computer company Atari in 1983. The goods buried were rumored to be unsold copies of E.T. Extraterrestrial. Obviously, the film was like ridiculously successful.
Massive.
Yeah? And the game was basically complete, utter pants. So you had a massive mismatch there. And so the fact that they trashed it, it became an urban legend for years and years that that somehow they just buried all these things, these games somewhere. And so it became a sort of a big urban legend that people talked about and stuff. As the end of the result of a disastrous fiscal year, which saw Atari Inc. sold off by its parent company Warner Brothers, though it is believed that millions of copies of E.T. were disposed in the landfill, Atari officials later verified the numbers to be around 700,000 cartridges of various titles, including E.T. And then there's this documentary called Atari Game Over from 2014, I think. And there was an excavation of a site that revealed only a small fraction of the cartridges back in 2014. But there we go. So Atari had a tendency to port arcade games for its home consoles. It says here. Further problem with Pac-Man underwhelming sales. Atari's faced great difficulties as a result of film game adaptation of the film E.T. Extraterrestrial. The game E.T. the Extraterrestrial was a result of a deal between Warner Brothers and Spielberg and an attempt to follow the success of Atari's Raiders of the Lost Ark. They paid $20 to $25 million for the rights. And basically the upshot is it was a terrible game and it completely flopped. And that was the thing. And then the whole destruction of all these cartridges unsold, 700,000, it became 1 million, became 2 million, whatever. And it virtually brought Atari down, or certainly got Warner Brothers to sell Atari. And nearly killed it off. That it became such an urban legend that they there was a film made all about these missing cartridges.
So whatever happened to the original developer then, who actually made the game? Did they sue him or?
No, the task of developing the game fell on Howard Scott Warshaw, the programmer for Raiders. So he'd done Raiders, and everybody loved Raiders.
That was
Raiders
successful.
Was a marvelous success. So everybody loved it. And I say, it was reported that Warner Brothers paid 20 to 25 million for the rights, which at the time was quite high. Really? For video game licensing. Warshaw had only... I was trying to remember this from my memory, but I was completely wrong. Warshaw had only 5 weeks.
What?
He had 5 weeks. They paid 20 to 25 million dollars for the rights.
5 weeks.
And he had 5 weeks to make a full game. 5 weeks to make a full game to make sure Atari could sell it during the upcoming holiday period. So the rush development resulted in lackluster gameplay, not half, and on release the game was critically planned, whatever, and is now seen as one of the worst ever made games.
Well, 5 weeks is no surprise, is it really?
Well, you saw the picture I showed you before. Atari manufactured 5 million cartridges for the game. This is, bear in mind that back in the cartridge days. So the cost of goods, the cost of manufacture was quite high because you had to build the cartridges to slot into the Atari 2600. So they made 5 million of them. And upon its release... Oh, you sent me a link?
Yeah, that's the actual game. It also shows the landfill.
I clicked on it. Send me it again, because I think I clicked on it and nothing happened.
To the chat. I'll send it again.
Let me just call it chat 1 second. Okay, bear with me one... my Scott's gone. Oh, that's it, because I've clicked on the thing. Right there. I got it. Come on, open up for me, please. Oh, there we are. It's doing it. There we are.
Want a laptop you don't have to charge like 10 times a day?
It's an unbelievable story. I'd kind of heard something like that, but I'd forgotten all about it.
Automatic updates that won't interrupt you. Chromebook can do that.
Okay, my picture's gone for a minute. Yeah, bear with me, everybody. My picture's gone, but it's all right. We're seeing a picture of E.T. Let's skip the ads. Okay, so here we are then. We're going to...
The extraterrestrial for the Atari 2600.
Wow. Look at these awesome graphics.
Saw the news today that a bunch of cartridges that had been buried for the last 30 years were recovered.
Yeah, they are, and these are the evidence they found it after this archaeological search. Look at those graphics.
I thought we'd check it out.
About 5 weeks. What did they genuinely think they were going to get?
This is what you're getting. This is what you're getting. The $25 million they paid on the license.
Wow.
For E.T. E.T. And this is what you're getting, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
This was the picture that we showed earlier.
How the hell do I get out of here?
I actually remember seeing it being played. I think a friend of mine must have bought it. I'm remembering it, thinking, crikey, what the heck is this?
Clive.
Uh,
Well, I mean, the whole game.
like what?
Come on, man.
What the heck they were on, man? Unbelievable.
Down,
He's
down.
crazy.
Oops.
Right. Let me take these. Let me just close these windows.
Mm.
Unbelievable.
Smoking week. They only had 5 weeks to smoke whatever it was.
Now, for some reason, you're look. If I'm going to transition here, look, you get 2 Rokks,
Oh wow, look at that.
twins.
2 for the price of
Unbelievable.
1.
2 for the price of 1.
Perfect.
What's happened there? Active speaker, local.
I just noticed I'm looking like Wolverine in this slide.
Yeah.
It's quite
Yeah,
odd.
it's very good. It's very good. Look,
Yeah.
my picture's gone. I'm just going to see if I can do. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Oh, there we are. Go to call. Should be back now. There we are. I'm back. Don't worry, people. I'm here. Yay!
Woohoo.
Anyway, there we are. Yeah, scary to know Atari ET will survive longer than a lot of historical items in the ground hold. Very true. Very true. And you know, like anything, if it wasn't for the diligence of, I say it because it became urban legend.
Yeah.
Oh, that apparently there is 1 million cartridges buried in the New Mexico desert, and that was the sort of conversation in the sort of game enthusiast world. That a few people got together, did some investigations, and if it wasn't for their diligence and sort of archaeological and forensic research, that in itself is a story. I think the fact that they found it and they were right. They were all hippies and geeks at Atari 1980s. Yeah, well, this one guy basically said, yeah, I know, who did Raiders and Lost Ark and was basically resting on the laurels of that, said, yeah, I can do it. And they said, yeah, but could you do it in 5 weeks? And he was like, yeah. They're paying him a lot of money.
I
And a
feel
lot of
so sorry
coffee.
for the guy.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to him. Be interesting
No.
to see. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed that. That was an interesting show, I thought.
was.
Even if I do
Yeah.
say so myself, Rokk. Even
Yes,
if,
and you
even
often
if
do.
I enjoyed it. Chat, did you enjoy the show this week? That's the key thing. There was a few little avenues that we went down there, but quite interesting, I thought.
I thought it was a good show.
there we
I
go.
thoroughly enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
So anyway, on that note, as I say, I hope you enjoyed it, chat. It was great that you were here, as ever. Always wonderful to see you in chat. Please share the love for this. Hit the likes, of course. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. All of that, it's much appreciated. Share it out as much as you can. You know, let other people know, because we feel a bit lonely here, just us and you lot. It'd be good to have more people in here. That's, you know. And it's, if you think it's a good show, you need to tell people it's a good show, and let's get the
Bring
word
your
out there.
friends.
We're getting better at this, I think. We're
Yeah.
you know, we're getting the hang
I
of
mean, you know, we've got the T-shirts and
it.
everything.
We've got
now.
T-shirts, we've got merch. Yeah, I've got 1 million copies of the T-shirts. I'm gonna have to dump them in a New Mexico desert if I don't. We don't. We've got 5 million. I've got 1 million of these.
Look at it.
We don't get
That's
more.
a
We don't get more subs. So I'm going to have to
piece
bury
of
them
art.
in the New Mexico tip.
Yeah.
And 20 years from now, people go, there was this show, right? And they bought 5 million retro Generation X retro gaming T-shirts, and it was such a disaster because they only had a few subs. They had to bury them in a New Mexico desert. Yeah, we'll become urban legends. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, on that bombshell. Thank you for being here again. Thank you for being us live, for spending your time with us. We really, really appreciate it. So it's a big thank you from me.
Yes.
And
also equal big thank you from him.
thank you. And goodbye.